Hi, welcome to Fun in Your Kitchen. I'm Debbie, your health coach for today. And today I thought I would come to you with a couple breakfast options that don't require eggs. Many of us are sensitive to eggs, or at least chicken eggs. And, or if you're doing a metabolic reset, as an example, where we've taken out eight of the most common food allergies or allergens. I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you a couple different options that do not have eggs in them. The first one I'm going to do today is called Super Seedy Breakfast Porridge. And the other one is a smoothie a protein smoothie that has so much in it that it is a complete meal, including vegetables, etc. And we will get to that secondly. So I'm going to start out today making the super seedy porridge. I've poured in 2/3 of a cup of water into my pot, and the recipe actually calls for rolled oats. Well, rolled oats may not be gluten-free. Many of us are trying to stay grain-free. So when I do recipes like this, a great substitute for rolled oats is coconut. So I have 2/3 of a cup of coconut here that I'm going to use in place of the oatmeal. And let me just grab a spoon real quick. And we're just going to mix this up and we're going to get it to a boiling temperature. So I'm going to let that start to boil. It shouldn't take very long. And then once this reaches this to the boiling point, we're going to reduce the heat on it and we're going to stir in almond milk. And what I'm going to be using today is a brand called Mooala. This is found at our local grocery store, Publix. Sprouts carries it as well. And the only two ingredients, and this is an unsweet version, is water and almonds, just like as if you'd make it at home yourself. Has no gums in it, so really nice and clean. So this is just about starting to boil already. And what this is doing is just softening the coconut. If someone was using the oats, again, it's just softening the coconut flakes. So that's going there. And then besides the almond milk, we are going to be adding pumpkin seeds or pepitas to that. And that will be 2 tablespoons. Now the recipe calls for roughly chopped. I don't even bother to chop them. I like the texture, having it a little bit crunchy while I'm eating it. And then we're also going to add some wonderful spices, ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Now, if you didn't have all of those ingredients ready at boiling, you could substitute it with pumpkin pie spice. So that would be a nice alternative to that. So I've lowered my heat here. All right, and so we're going to start by adding 2/3 of a cup of the unsweetened almond milk. So let me pour that in. Okay, followed by the pepitas, 2 tablespoons. And again, you don't have to be exact. You could do a tablespoon of the pumpkin seeds, or you could do a tablespoon of sunflower seeds as an option. All right, I'm going to mix that in there. And then for the spices, they just say a pinch. There's no true measurement. So you can add a little bit more of one than the other. So this one is the ginger. And when I say a pinch, I'm just adding a little bit amount like that. And after you make it the first time, You can make a decision if you want to add more of one or the other. I like cinnamon. Cinnamon's great for helping lower your blood sugar, or better for blood sugar control. And then here's a little bit of nutmeg. So I just, again, no true measurement on that. I'm just putting a pinch in there, and I'm going to stir that together. And this aroma from all the spices are just wonderful. Now, this is for 2 servings. You could double, triple this recipe, enough maybe for the week. If you were going to have it every day, maybe double it, have it 4 times during the week. I always like to alternate my breakfast and not always have exactly the same thing. All right, so for right now, this is supposed to cook for about 5 minutes. And so the rest of the ingredients, while this is cooking, I can tell you what they are. So we're going to, once this cooks the 5 minutes, we're going to take it or turn off the heat or take it off the burner. And we are going to add hemp seeds, almond butter, or you could do sunflower seed butter as well, chia seeds, and vanilla. So that will be what we will be adding. And I will pause the video for a moment, and I'll get back to you after the 5 minutes are done. Okay, we're back. This has been cooked, and the reason for the cooking is just to soften the coconut that we've put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and remove it from the heat. And we are going to go ahead now and add the hemp seeds, which are 2 tablespoons. I get mine from Thrive Market, but you can find these in any grocery store. Some great omega-3s. These are good, healthy fats. We're also going to add some chia seeds, and it calls for about 2 teaspoons, so that's about 2/3 of a tablespoon. And again, you can always add a little bit more of one, a little bit less of the other. And then we also need to add some almond butter. Now you can also use sunflower seed butter as well. I'm going to add that in there. And this almond butter is organic that I get from Costco. And then the last thing I believe that we need to add is a 1/2 teaspoon of some vanilla extract. And we'll just use this. Okay. Now, to give this, if you want, we're just going to let this stir together. And if you want to give it an extra protein boost, a great way to do that is to add some protein powder to this. You can have it all on your own. You've gotten some good proteins in here with your almond butter. You've got some protein with your hemp seeds, your almond milk. But really, if you really want to up that protein, and I think I'm going to do this with this batch, I'm going to put a serving of protein powder in here. This is the Synergy Pea Protein Vanilla. And that would be like a 1/2 serving per serving size. Remember, I'm making this for 2 servings. So that would give you about another 10 grams of protein in here. And if it becomes a little too thick, you can always add a little extra of the almond milk, or you could add just a little bit more water. And I'm going to just mix this, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. Once you serve it into your bowl on the day of, and I just keep the extra in the refrigerator, so this can be made ahead of time. Pour some of this in here so you can see what it looks like. Well, if you can catch that with the lights, but it looks like regular porridge. And as it sits a little bit, it actually gets a little bit thicker. And with the added protein powder, that does it as well. The chia seeds, once they're in there, they become gel-like. So as it sits, the oatmeal, or in this case, the no oatmeal porridge gets a little bit thicker. So I hope that would be one good idea. And again, you can make this in multiple portions so that it's something quick and easy that all you need to do is warm up and for a minute or so, and you'll have your breakfast ready. I'm going to clean up from making the porridge, and I will be back with my other recipe for the smoothie. Okay, I'm all set to do my second recipe. This is called a low glycemic green smoothie. So I'm just going to give you all of the measurements. I start out with a 4-inch section of a cucumber. I do leave the skin on. I feel like I'm getting more fiber, more nutrients. But if you choose to not want to do that, you can obviously peel it. And then I've just cut it into quarters and going to stick that in there. So that was a 4-inch cucumber. Calls for about 4 to 5 ice cubes. Pour that in. Next, there's a quarter to a half a ripe avocado. I like to use the whole half. It gives the avocado gives it a lot of creaminess, but it's also great vitamin C and fabulous fiber. So I'm just gonna squish it right out of the skin, not cutting it into anything, just pushing it out. So I've added that. Next, a tablespoon of unsweetened almond butter or sunflower seed butter. You could also use coconut butter as well. Again, I've chosen to use the almond butter that we used in the last recipe. I'm going to put that in there. It's a very simple recipe. Next, it calls for hemp seeds. Again, as before, wonderful, healthy fats. So 1 tablespoon. The next is a chunk of ginger. So I've already peeled mine. It calls for about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Just depends on how well you like the taste of ginger. If you didn't have any fresh ginger, I would suggest just ginger powder, just like I used in the last recipe. I used the Simply Organic powdered ginger, and I would say maybe a 1/2 teaspoon would be fine. Next, a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to use the full teaspoon. And then it says 1 cup of spinach or other greens. I do have spinach. This is just the Green Wise organic baby spinach. You could use baby kale, maybe some arugula as well. And it calls for a cup. I just take a big handful and I just kind of stuff it in and around in the blender. Doesn't have to be exact. The more greens, the better. So not worried about putting in too much. And then 2/3 of a cup of water or unsweetened almond milk, could be coconut milk, or even hemp milk. I already have it measured out. Now this calls for 2/3. I always find that my shakes seem to be a little bit thicker than what I want. So sometimes I'll just add some extra water. Today I decided to just put a full cup of the almond milk instead. So there you go. And then the last ingredient, but we're going to wait to add that, is our protein powder, because we don't want to over mix our protein powders, because we want them to give us all the protein that we need. And if we do it too much, it does break down the protein. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on the blender. I usually pulse it a few times first, just to kind of get things moving, and then I will put it on high. I'm going to stop it midway, and just use a spatula, just to push down the sides. Now, if you happen to have a Vitamix or another blender, maybe Blendtec, I think is another one that has one of those sticks inside. You might not have to do that, but my Ninja does not. So we're going to go ahead and get that started. That's pulse 1, pulse 2, pulse 3. Now I'm just going to put it on high. So I'll probably run this for about 15 seconds. It was 15 seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and just check. I think because I did add that extra 1/3 of a cup of the almond milk, it has a really nice consistency there, because remember, we don't want it too thick, because we're going to first then add the protein powder. So I'm going to just give this another quick mix, and then I will add the protein powder to it. So that was just about another 5 seconds. Now, when I do add the protein, and this is the Red Nutritionals Synergy Protein Complete. This is vanilla. I can use a chocolate flavored protein powder as well, whatever your preference is. Sometimes I do use chocolate, sometimes I don't. And we're going to add 1 serving. Now, this smoothie is for 1 serving. Now, not to say that you couldn't do half and half, but right now with the protein powder, that's just 20 grams of protein just on its own, which doesn't include from the almond butter and the hemp seeds that we added to that as well. Now, the one thing when you add the protein is you just want to get it mixed in. You don't want to run it for 20, 25 seconds, like half a minute. So this I am going to pulse a few times just to get that. And I'm just pressing once and then stopping. And I'm going to go look inside. I might have to just push down a little bit. Nope, looks like it's all mixed in there. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a cup. Let me go get one, and I will be back to show you what it looks like. So here you go. Look how beautiful that is. It is nice and thick. Let me take a spoon so you can kind of see. how thick it is, but still easy to drink. And there's just so much goodness in this. This is probably my favorite way to have a smoothie. So here's, and here's to the morning breakfast without eggs. See you soon.